Welcome to another episode, everyone. Big U, Rolling 60s Crip. They're saying that he's done, that he's cooked. It possibly can be that he is done. Now, the feds, Big U, filed a motion to have the witnesses in this case revealed. Everyone who was snitching on him, he wanted them exposed. That was, pretty ambitious of him because the feds are not necessarily going to give up their informants, at least not right away. Nevertheless, the feds counteracted, I suppose, with a superseding indictment. This means that the feds are indicting Big U under more charges. They're filing more charges against him. And in order to support this superseding indictment, they offered information. Come to find out, they had wiretaps on Big U. They had been listening to his phone calls. I'm sure he knew this. He should have known this. And in these wiretaps, Big U was talking about breaking Whack 100's jaw, and that he says that he's bigger than Nipsey Hussle in the 60s and just around the world, I suppose. Now, let's get into it. This individual here, Seti Nas, has the paperwork and the information. This dude here is from 60s as well. But we'll just get the paperwork from him, and then I'll take it from there. Shout out to Seti Nash, since I'm using his paperwork type situation.
Big U hit with a second superseding indictment. Check out this exclusive from All Hip Hop. AllHipHop.com. Exclusive. Big U hit with superseding indictment for threatening to kill Nipsey Hussle and other supposed to be overt acts, but other over acts? Oh, all right. Anyways, Eugene Big U Henley faced new federal racketeer charges alleging threats against Nipsey Hussle and violent gang control tactics. Federal prosecutors have sharpened their case against Eugene Big U Henley with a slate of new overt acts that depict him as a violent shot caller who boasted about disciplining Nipsey Hussle and others, even as he publicly branded himself a community mentor. There we go right here. In a new superseding indictment, the government does not accuse Big U of playing any role in Hussle's 2019 killing outside the Marathon clothing store in South Los Angeles. Damn, it's been 2019 since that shit happened. The murder was prosecuted in state court where Ronald, I'm tripping, my bad, y'all. Eric Ronald Holder Jr. was convicted of first-degree murder and later sentenced to 60 years to life in prison. Instead, federal prosecutors say intercepted calls captured Big U's years later threatening to kill Nipsey Hussle and others in describing himself as the hunter of the Rolling 60s. Rhetoric they frame as part of a racketeering pattern of intimidation and control. On December 31st, 2022, on an intercepted call, Big U said that he was bigger than deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle and that he disciplined Nipsey Hussle and that defended he was bigger than any other Rolling 60, according to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. On January 1st, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Big U said he was not beefing with Nipsey Hussle because if anyone beefs with Big U, I'ma kill him, period. I am going to murder him. The superseding indictment's new overt acts expanded far beyond the already detailed allegations about a Las Vegas studio artist's murder, dispensary robberies, and extortion payments. It adds a series of fresh overt acts that aim to show Big U and his associates using fear to tighten their grip on Los Angeles streets and on wealthy clients. In one added episode, Big U discusses disciplining a fellow Rolling 60s member identified as OG Crip Cuz, claiming he had to be beaten for perceived disrespect and warning that he could have had him killed instead. In another, he allegedly recounts
So again, this is all coming from the feds here. This is all the federal prosecutor's superseding indictment against Big U. They're tightening up the case against Big U right now before trial and saying that they have him on wiretaps and that they have recorded phone calls from Big U that say that he's bigger than Nipsey Hussle. They said that they're not accusing him in any way of being involved in the death of Nipsey Hussle. So to clear it up, to clear Big U's name, at least as it relates to the death of Nipsey Hussle, it would appear the prosecutors too believe that it was not a setup, that Big U did not send Eric Holder over there or anything like that. Instead, that it was spontaneous. Eric Holder and Nipsey Hussle got into it right there on the moment, on the spot, and everything transpired right there on the spot. It was not pre-planned. It was not premeditated. They said that they have, nothing against Big U as it relates to Nipsey Hussle's murder, other than these wiretaps in which, after Nipsey Hussle was already dead, he had already been murdered, unfortunately, brutally. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. After this, Big U was on the phone saying, had he been beefing with Nipsey Hussle, he would have killed him, et cetera, et cetera. And he's talking about he had to beat up OG Crip Cuz or whatever from Rolling 60s for getting out of line, and that he's bigger than everyone from Rolling 60s, everyone, including Nipsey Hussle. This is Big U. So now the feds are using this against Big U to say that it was a part of his method of intimidation, beating people up, and saying that he's, the biggest Rolling 60s in the history of Rolling 60s, basically, to paraphrase, etc. So they're using all of this in court against Big U now. These phone conversations, these intercepted conversations, these wiretaps, and they're using it not to prosecute him for the murder of Nipsey Hussle, but instead saying that it's all part of his intimidation practices in which he makes people check in and pay money and this, that, and the other, that he's a gang leader and while posing as a community activist. This is all now part of their new indictment, superseding indictment, as to strengthen their case against Big U. They're looking to bust him upside the head and cook him, bro. They're trying to put Big U in there and keep him in there for the rest of his life. Let's be clear. This is what they're trying to do, keep Big U in there for the rest of his life.
Dispute involving Nipsey Hussle and other neighborhood figures, boasting that if things had gone differently, he would have had a problem with any man and that issue would have been resolved and he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. A live prosecutor cite to show how Big U linked his status to life or death situations. So it's say right here, overt act number 155 on December 30th, 2022 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that when defendant Henley catches whack 100, I'm going to break his jaw. Yeah, me too, Big U. I'm kidding, y'all. I'm just kidding. Overt Act 156 on December 31st, 2022 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that defendant Henley was bigger than the deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle, that defendant Henley disciplined Nipsey Hussle, and that defendant Henley was big.
So when he says he's just kidding, he's not talking about the whack 100 stuff. It's right there. Overt Act number 155 on December 30th, 2022 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that when defendant Henley catches whack 100, I'm going to break his jaw. It's right there. I'm going to break his jaw. That's what Nipsey said on an intercepted call about whack 100, that he going to rearrange his jaw. He going to separate that thing. He going to separate his jaw from his face. Whoa. But I don't know. He was around whack 100. They used to be cool and they ended up beefing and all of this, but he was around him. He didn't break his jaw. The feds are just using all of this stuff now to come down on Big U. This is just talk, bro. This is just Big U talking on the phone. I'll catch the fool, I'm going to break his jaw. He saw me, he didn't break his jaw, but the feds are going to use this now. You got to be careful what you say on the internet, careful what you say on the phone. That's the lesson here, because they're going to twist it and turn it against you.
Bigger than any other Rolling 60. Okay. Overt Act number 157 on December 31st, 2022 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that if anyone has an issue with defendant Henley, they will no longer be alive. Overt Act number 158 on January 1st, 2023 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that he was not beefing with Nipsey Hussle because if anyone beefs with defendant Henley, I'm going to kill him, period. I am going to murder him. Overt Act number 159 on December 2nd, 2023 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told Big U Enterprise Associates DS that to manipulate the press for DS's lawsuit against law enforcement, DS should show both positive and negative parts of his life, wear glasses, and say that he was working with development options, even though he was not. Overt Act number 160. On January 2nd, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told Big U Enterprises Associates DS that defendant Henley needed to at least break the producer's jaw. God damn, Big U. Additional new overt acts describe Big U threatening to mess up a South Central Los Angeles business after employees refused him a discount and talking about hanging out with in rival Grape Street territory while saying he could kill motherfuckers every day. God. Prosecutors say he bragged about always having two blowers, aka guns, and being able to pay others to carry out assaults. The feds say this illustrates how he allegedly blended direct violence with outsourced muscle. The superseding indictment also adds detail about contraband smuggling, accusing Big U of arranging to get a cell phone into a state prison and then selling miniature phones for $1,000 each, treating incarcerated people as another source of revenue. Together, the new acts are designed to deepen the narrative that he leveraged his Rolling 60s pedigree, podcasts, and documentary appearances to project an image of reform. The feds say privately he was invoking executions, beatings, and armed enforcement that maintain what prosecutors call the Big U Enterprises' grip on Los Angeles. For now, Nipsey Hussle's death remains solely a state case. In federal court, Big U faces no homicide charge tied to the rapper yet. He wasn't a part of this shit. Duh, what the... Now listen, man, there's... In hoods in Los Angeles County, you had your young bulls. That's a Philly.
Yeah, shout out to Seti Nash. This is Seti Nash. I believe, again, he's from Rolling 60s Crip. Just use his content, his paperwork there. I can take it from there. And there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments. So the feds said at the end there that he has not been charged with Nipsey Hussle's death yet. Did you catch that? There's nothing indicating any charges against him to this point. They said, made some sort of sly comment like that twice there at the end, the last paragraph on the page, that he's not free of charges yet, or he's free of charges for now. He hasn't been charged with anything as of yet. That the Nipsey Hussle case remains a state case, they said, for now. The feds are not involved, etc. Of course, insinuating, implying, at least you can glean from that perhaps they are cooking something up behind the scenes, or, if it indeed materializes later on that they think he may have had something to do with it, then they're leaving the door open, let's say, to perhaps charge him later on should the information bear that out. That's what I took from it. But there you have it, man. Big U, they hit him with a superseding indictment. They're trying to keep him in there forever. This is the play here. They already have him charged with the murder there in Las Vegas of the rapper, the friend of the son or whatever. And again, I haven't gotten to any of the Big U indictment, and I'm not trying to get too involved in it now because it's still an open case. But I'm just keeping you abreast at this point of now what the feds are saying. They just filed more charges on him, or a superseding indictment to at least strengthen the charges that they already have, and strengthen their position that he's just a shot caller posing as some community activist, and that but behind the scenes, he was trying to rule LA with an iron fist, that he was attacking individuals, exploiting individuals, having individuals check in, having assaults arranged, that he's talking on the phone. They intercepted these phone calls, as we see. They have it there in black and white. They've listened to these phone calls for however long. They've been after Big U for years. They had apparently been watching him because these phone calls date back to 2022, 2021, and all of this. So that's how the feds are. They'll watch you and build a case on you for years. They'll let you think that you're free and that you're skating free for years. And then they come and get you. And once they do come and get you and put the handcuffs on you, it's hard to get out of it because they have built the case over the years. And they have a strong case against you by the time they put the handcuffs on you, because they're not going to put the handcuffs on you until they have a strong case against you. This being the feds anyway. And so Big U, apparently, it looks like he's up against it. Just based on some of his own words. They're talking about he used podcasts and all this to project a certain image, but it was all a ploy and it was all a ruse. I mean, they're on him, bro. He has some very serious charges, so we'll see what happens. We'll see how it pans out. Let me know what you think in the comments. But there it is. I mean, now, I mean, whoa. Now they're saying that he, I mean, they've been saying that he was a shot caller and all that, but I'm saying that, now they're releasing these phone calls and adding an indictment, a superseding indictment. And, talking about these overt acts that he had where he beat up OG Crip Cuz, what have you, and things that he said about Nipsey Hussle, that he's bigger than him and he's the biggest rolling 60s or whatever. All of this stuff that they have intercepted there on the phone calls. They're now charging him with more overt acts in this RICO. So we'll see how it pans out. But Big U is certainly up against it at this point, bro. Just reading this superseding indictment alone, they're trying to paint a certain picture of him. And if it sticks, then yes, he's in big trouble. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it pans out. Shout out to Big U. Hopefully he can overcome this situation. But they're certainly coming after him. And now everybody's talking about all of these individuals that are allegedly in the indictment already against him. All of these Crips and Rolling 60 Crips or whatever that people are saying are supposed to be inside of the indictment. I don't know. I haven't allowed myself to get too deeply involved in it. But I just found this part right here interesting anyway. This superseding indictment and how apparently they are really coming after Big U at this point. They're getting ready for trial. They're preparing themselves, are the feds, and they're releasing all kind of stuff against them now to tighten up their case, bro. So, he's in a pickle. He's in a situation right now. A lot of this stuff is talk. I'm going to break Whack 100's jaw. He didn't break his jaw. He saw Whack 100. They were still chilling and seeing each other. He didn't kill Nipsey Hussle. He's popping it on. Somebody get into it with me, I'm going to kill him. He's not the one that did it, though. So a lot of this is just Big U popping it on the phone. He talking on the phone to whoever it is that he's talking to, one of his boys, one of his little homies. Yeah, get into it with me, I'm going to kill him. See Whack 100, I'm going to break his jaw. Well, he don't really mean, he saw him, he didn't do it. But the feds are not, even though they know that he didn't really mean a lot of this stuff, more than likely, because again, he had a chance to act this out, and he did not do so. So he didn't mean this stuff, and the feds know this, but nevertheless, they're going to try to put it on him to paint this picture that they're trying to paint of him, that he's just this monstrous shot caller, bestial-like, without feeling for anyone else. He's a head individual from a very big, strong, famous, violent gang. He himself is saying that no one is bigger than him from this gang, dead or alive. And he was taking money from whatever his nonprofit was, whatever that group was, the development options or what have you. And that he was keeping the money, scamming for the money, essentially, that he was not helping the community. This is just a picture that they're painting of Big U. And now they're buttressing that picture with this superseding indictment. So we'll see what happens, man. But they're certainly trying to take that individual down. Stay safe and stay free, people.